guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Write this down. Write it down. You like writing things down.
Write them down. It's like a personal contract with ourselves. Write that down.
And welcome to the OG edition of Write That Down, the only show, along with Purple Daily, in the entire country that has the cojones enough, the Sam Cassell big grapefruits enough, the Jokic grapefruits after last night, to put statistics next to our predictions. It is Write That Down on Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd. So here's how it works. We'll just get right into this explanation. 3 predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of batting averages and home runs. And listeners, if you want to participate, we had a guest listener predictor that we are looking to track down here.
Worried.
What was the guest listener predictor's name?
Joe.
Well, Joe, we're not live, so if you're hearing this, you missed it. Maybe we can connect again sometime. But if you'd like to participate, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app. That's the best way to hit us up for Feedback Friday on Purple Daily, for Write That Down requests, et cetera, et cetera.
It does sound like my fiance and I believe also brother Liam would like one more spot before the wedding to make Declan wedding-related predictions now that we are less than a couple months from the big day.
Are they both going to come on at the same time?
I think so. My Kelsey doesn't want to come on without my brother on the show. I think she's very nervous. So one of those two things will happen.
You're her future husband. Why can't she come? I mean, if you're on the show, she's fine.
But it's not comforting. If she's going to make predictions about Declan, it's like, they're not on the same team for that particular episode necessarily.
And I know, there's predictions where technically you have to take the headphones off. These are predictions I feel comfortable with just listening in on because they're probably going to happen. If you want me to take the headphones off for the integrity, I'll abide by it. But at the same time, I think I'd be okay with listening to the
let's get it on the schedule. Let's get it on the schedule, man.
Yeah.
I'm
and tell them both to show up, okay?
Yes. Well,
it's very annoying when people don't show up on our.
We'll try to make that happen.
Maybe to soften some of the predictions that your gal's going to make when she jumps on, you can make a preliminary trip to Bachman's together.
There we go.
You guys can talk about the summer landscaping, the new home that you guys have as of last year. You can maximize your landscape's potential with Bachman's. You can just walk into any of the 7 locations into a mecca of landscaping supplies, expertise. Learn how to play to your yard's strengths, whether sun-drenched or shaded, and bring your gardening dreams to life. You can find out a full list of all of the Bachman's locations by just going to bachmans.com. But I'll tell you right now, Minneapolis, Apple Valley, Eden Prairie, Plymouth, Fridley, Maplewood, and Cedar Acres, Lakeville. So pretty much anywhere you are in the Twin Cities metro area, there is a Bachman's within range. They have horticulturalists on staff. That's right, horticulturalists. That's what Judd minored in at the University of Minnesota back in the day, horticulturalism.
Yeah, in 2 months.
Yeah, he didn't make it to the finals, but there's plenty of people on staff to help you tackle your questions and needs to make landscaping a breeze this summer at Bachman's. Okay, boys, let's go through the accountability session here and find out who was right, who was wrong. We'll start with Judd. Not a great week for old Judley. For Judson.
Maybe.
So you said the Timberwolves would win Game 3. You said Jorge Polanco would hit no fewer than 2 home runs when Seattle came to town. And you said Anthony Edwards would get at least 3 votes for NBA MVP. I believe he got, was it 2?
Oh, so close.
Like 1 or 2.
1 or 2, I think, yeah.
Unfortunately. Decent week for me. We'll start with the bad here. I said Jaden McDaniels will score at least 15 points in Game 3. He had 10. I said the Nuggets would call the first timeout of Game 3. Mm-hmm. They didn't. But I did say Anthony Edwards would be part of Club Superstar, Nick Wright's Club Superstar, on his First Things First show on Fox Sports 1. He does it's 12 superstars in a club, and you can only have 12. And every year you bounce a couple out, you put a couple in. Anthony Edwards did make Club Superstar.
Okay.
And I said the Wolves' ownership would not be solved by the mediation session, which was kind of a layup. Listeners,
Ooh.
Josh said Anthony Edwards would score at least 40 points in a game against the Nuggets. So he's done it twice. It's a home run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, Declan, nothing came off the board for you this week, so we'll highlight one that's still on the board. You said Kay Adams and Shams will be acknowledged in a relationship between now and June 1st. We have 2.5 weeks for this relationship to go public.
I feel like
maybe Shams is in the friendship zone here.
Yeah, I think he is.
I saw she had Kay had KOC on yesterday on her FanDuel show.
Was Shams a little jealous?
Might have been. I mean, my fiance would have been jealous. She loves KOC. But yeah, I really wanted this to happen. I really wanted this. It was so weird. The comments around Super Bowl week, and McAfee asked him straight up, "Are you guys dating?" And he just had nothing but glowing remarks to say about her. Like, not even just being professional. It sounded like someone that was in a relationship with.
Yeah. She's just one of the best people I've ever met. She just brings a bright sparkle to my day.
They might just be good friends.
Maybe.
I'm not sure they have time.
She sat on my couch once, and I still smell the throw pillows to this day. It was weird. Like, to Declan's point, it was weird. It was a weird deal. It was like Shams was trying to make it seem like they were in a relationship, but I don't know.
I feel like during the NBA season, I don't want my insiders like getting into relationships.
Well, on ESPN, isn't Malika Andrews engaged or married to Dave McMenamin, the guy who travels around?
Oh, is she really?
Pretty sure.
And that's fine because they're just reporters. I'm saying like the Wojs and the Shams, you don't have time for this.
What's the difference though?
Molly Corm used to be married to Jaylen Rose, right?
Very quickly.
That
was dissolved very quickly.
But then now there's been some like Molly Kiram, Stephen A. Smith rumors.
Yeah, that was weird. I think,
and they shot it down on the show.
Well, of course they would. So that's what you would do if you're.
I'm not
trying to
buying there's a relationship there. I'm not buying that one.
So, anyways, we'll see if that one comes off the board here in a couple weeks. So, as of now, the listeners, a quarter of the way into the 2024 Write That Down season with a 419 batting average, leading everyone. Declan 400. I'm at 405. We have to flip flop these. I'll get on our staff for not putting these in the right order. And then Judd at 283. Listeners and myself tied with 4 home runs. Declan and Judd each with 3 home runs. So it is wide open. We have 3 of us are above the 400 mark 3 months into the season. I'm not sure that's ever happened before. And then all-time stats, Declan with a 363 average leads everyone. Judd with 321 hits leads everyone. And listeners with 59 home runs lead everyone in that category. So there's your accountability session here, gentlemen. Judd, we're going to start with you. It's just going to be the 3 of us making predictions here today.
It's like the old days.
So why don't you fire away, sir?
All right, I'm going to start off with some Timberwolves predictions. I was thinking about Game 6 predictions, and then I'm like, I'm not going to bother with that. So I'm going to push some predictions out here.
Oh, you're just like done. You're done with the series.
Well, like, am I going to say the Wolves? I'm not convinced that they're going to win Game 6 now. Like I said, they'd win Game 3. That proved to be woefully wrong.
Very Minnesota sports.
I'm not going to bother with that.
Yeah, can we side street for a second? Because Declan's got Twins coverage. He's not really on flagrant howls to unleash Wolves takes. It does feel like people are just done and furious. How dare this team struggle against the best team and best player in the world? By the way, like, Jokic this might be the best he's ever played these last 2 or 3 games. Mm-hmm. And instead of it being, wow, Wolves just absorbed a major haymaker. The series is not over yet. There's a Game 6 at Target Center. Can the Wolves punch back? And even if they don't, they swept Phoenix. They went toe-to-toe with the defending champions. What does this mean for the future? Like, the commentary I am seeing from a lot of fans and even media is like, burn it all down. Someone needs to be held accountable. Rudy Gobert is garbage because it's like, people.
Well, the Gobert thing is, I agree. But I get the frustration because you won. You created expectations. You won the first 2 games. And then the Nuggets basically said, oh, hold on a second. We're superior.
Yeah. I get but it's not over. The series is not over.
And to be honest, they have won 6 games in the playoffs against two really good teams. They swept a Suns team that was loaded. They took the first two games against the defending champions, and we are acting like they're facing a three-hole up battle. I'm going to borrow a phrase from my guy Jordan Alamont, who I believe is one of the hosts of Crunch Wears No Pants, which is another Timberwolves podcast. A great name.
Yep.
Great name for a podcast. Also my wedding DJ. Fear is the mind killer. And he uses that all the time. Fear is the mind killer. What are we so afraid of here? You're 3-2. So if they win tonight and they force a game 7, it's still over? I don't get it.
Amen. Well, but what we want to see, though, is they need to, in game 6, they need to come out with what you just said. I don't blame the fans. The fans are a byproduct of the team itself. So they need to come out and make sure that there are no holes in the game, that Ant scores what he has to score. Like, that's the thing, is you think about the teams in this town, the teams are at fault a lot of times for the mentality. The Wild, first round losses. The Twins, was it 18 years, 20 some odd losses?
It was 18 losses over 20 years. Yeah.
My problem with the Wolves was game 4. You should have won that. But should have won that game.
This is different than, to me, the Wolves aren't in a 3-2 hole after being up 2-0 because of Minnesota sports history. Like, I understand the fans being just a little sick of like playoff failures, and I understand the frustration 100%. But they're not playing some slappy ass team here. They're not playing the Cleveland Cavs without like 2 good players, or the depleted. If I'm a Pacers fan right now, and the Knicks literally are playing a 6.5 man rotation without 2 of their best players or 3 of their best players, and you're getting run out of the gym in games, like, that's a different story. Or even like the Knicks in some of those games. Like, if you're playing teams like that and you're getting your doors blown out, you're playing the best team in the world, one of the greatest players of all time, playing at his absolute peak. And it's not over. Like, it's a fight. Right. This is what was supposed to happen. But I almost wish game 2 didn't happen that way, because when game 2 happened that way, people started crowning this team something that it wasn't ready to be crowned as. You have to win a series against, I mean, this is like the final boss of the NBA that you are facing in the second round right now.
But they can get the fans back by winning game 6.
Okay.
They've got to come back. Like, look, they have not delivered since game 2. They have not delivered a sufficient punch. And so I get that from fans. Like, it's up to the Wolves the narrative is up to them.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. It's very much up to them. If Jokic plays like he did last night, they're screwed.
But then it's not up to them.
But you better go down with a huge fight. If Jokic,
but they've been fighting. Game 3 was not much of a fight.
Game 4 was
Games 4 and Games 5 were huge fights that just
but Game 4 is an indictment because you didn't have nearly enough guys come along for Ant's ride. I hold Game 4
Judd,
against them way more than Game 5.
I know, but the Nuggets are like the Warriors 10 years ago in a different way, where if they are playing at their best, nobody is going to beat them. And there's things you can do to throw them off their game somewhat, but something clicked in the 4 days off and jarred them back into cyborg dynasty mode. And you're kind of hoping that like Jokic just misses some shots that he ordinarily doesn't miss in game 6 to force a game 7.
But that's why game 4 should have been won. Because Jokic last night was phenomenal. Game 4 was a winnable game.
Jokic was phenomenal in game 4 too.
And so was Ant.
Unstoppably phenomenal.
And if any teammate had come along for that ride, I think the Wolves win game 4.
I think what I know.
I'm not going to cut them total slack here. They don't deserve that.
I'm not cutting them total slack either, but I think what's happening is people are like, if they lose to the Nuggets, people are making it seem like this colossal failure. You blew a 2-0 lead and this and that and the other. No, you're facing one of the greatest teams in modern NBA right now. And I know they've only won the one championship, but like, this team is a cyborg. Jokic had 0 turnovers last night.
Oh,
that dude went for like 40, 17, and whatever with 0 turnovers. And people are clowning Rudy. Rudy had a hand in almost every one of those shots, like in his face. I'm
with you on last night. That's why you have to win game 4. I think that's the point. It's a playoff. It's hell. Like, we've talked about this. These series are hell. Game 4, you have to win, because when game 5 then happens, then you're like, okay, we just flat out got beat. Game three was a disaster, but you sucked. So like, I'm not even gonna. Game two, the Nuggets were terrible, right? So like, to me, those wash out. Like, they're both terrible games by different teams. Game four, you had you had your superstar do what Jokic did last night, and if your team comes along to that game, you win that game. So when game five transpires, you're like, okay, Jokic won that game. Like, that's how a playoff series with the best teams should go. And my problem was the game four loss. You left no wiggle room then for game five, and the Nuggets pounced.
My issue isn't the fact that like the Wolves didn't show up for games, 4 or 5 or 3 even for that matter. It's the fact of Minnesota sports fans are acting like it's just absolutely over, and it's not over. That is my issue. I like the X's and O's and the tactical things. I will leave for you two to discuss and dissect because I'm not going to be able to answer those things. My problem is with the aura of or Minnesota sports fans now kicking their legs and dragging their feet into targets.
Right,
again.
But you do have to win. But you do have to, like, that's why game four was so paramount. Because if you win that game, the narrative in town changes.
But if
you win game 6 and 7, no one cared about what happened in game 4 and 5.
But my point is, people have lost confidence for a reason. The team has lost confidence. So you take control. Like this isn't up to the fans. This is up to the team to come out and take the game, take hold on Thursday night and win. And then guess what? You got a game 7. And to Phil's point on flagrant last night, which I agree completely with, game 7, first of all, I think the pressure goes back to the defending champions because now it's at 7 games. And second of all, weird things can happen.
Listen, I think everyone's kind of right in certain ways here, and nothing. I don't fully disagree with anything Judd is saying. That game 4 was the biggest opportunity of the 3 that you've lost here, and if you could have just split those home games, now it's 3-1. You probably expect to lose the game last night, but now you're back home with a chance to clinch it with game 7 if needed in a break glass in case of emergency. But where I align with Declan the most here is you walked into the ring with 1989 Mike Tyson. Going in, you were not a favorite to win this series. It felt like, you're formidable. You tend to match up pretty well. And you knock Mike Tyson, 1989 Mike Tyson, on his ass in the first and second round. And now it's like, here we go. But guess what? There's still 10 rounds to go in this fight, and Mike Tyson gets up, cracks his neck, puts his mouthpiece back in, and says, I'm awake now. Boom, 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 uppercut. Right. Like, it's still 1989 Mike Tyson, and now he's awake because you punched him in the jaw.
Right.
And it's like and the fight's not over yet. And to Declan's point, we're already kind of cowering in the fetal position, and by the way, we're acting like if you lose to 1989 Mike Tyson, it's some huge travesty too. It could be just a great necessary step in the process of really cracking the window open for Anthony Edwards when he's 23 in 2025. I know fans don't want to hear that today, but let's see what happens in game 6, man. Let's roll the ball out and see what happens in a packed Target Center tomorrow night, and we will be live, Judd and I, the Sports Dad and Phil Mackey, on the Score North YouTube channel for Flagrant Howls right after that game is over.
And it would be very nice to see them win at least one home game now that Denver has won one. And again, I think if you go to 7, I think the paranoia that you both are talking about changes completely. Then I think fans are like, okay, you came back and won. But I mean, they're fans. They're fans who have seen a lot of crap. I understand this is up to the team. This is why players are so important. This is why I love Ant. As bad as he was last night, game 4, my God, he deserved, and we showered him with it. He deserved every bit of praise he got because he basically said, you guys might lose, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And yes, the Wolves lost, but that's a hell of a performance.
A couple things real quick. Just I love that we're down this side street, but I'm making a note because I want to do a Jaylen Brunson comparison here. But I think what happened, what I saw last night in our live 50-minute post game on YouTube, just kind of reading fans' thoughts on different social platforms, is a game like that happens. Jokic does what he does, and our instinct is we need to find someone to pin it on or to blame. That this happened to your team, they lost,
Right.
And someone needs to be held accountable or held to the fire. And I think we went up and down. Like, we criticized Anthony Edwards for being too passive against doubles. We criticized Carl. We criticized a couple, like Kyle Anderson, some guys off the bench, Jaden McDaniels. Like, we criticized a bunch of people. But I stood up a little bit for Rudy and said, wait a second. People are clowning Rudy. He's the defensive player of the year, and he can't even, nobody in the league can stop Jokic when he's playing like that. Not Anthony Davis. I don't care if it's early 2000s Shaq. Like, literally nobody in the league can stop him when he's playing like that. But people need to find a scapegoat, and it's more comforting to us if there's a specific reason or person to blame. Right. And so all I'm saying is sometimes when a game like that, I would put game 3 in that same category too. When a team of that caliber plays like that, sometimes there is nobody to scapegoat. It's just Anthony Edwards even said it after the game. He's like, if he's playing like that, I honestly don't know what we can do with our current roster construction. And it doesn't also mean that the Wolves aren't one of the best teams in the league. They run smack dab against this ridiculous juggernaut.
And Conley being out was absolutely huge.
Yeah, he's a calming influence.
Like the whole
he can knock
tone
down
of that
threes.
team, that whole tone. I mean, he is, to use the cliche, a coach on the floor, and it's not Slow-Mo who tries to be. And I think Slow-Mo knows what he wants to see, but he can't execute it. Conley can. So, but yeah, I'll just come back to game 4 because that's the one where if you take that game, then Jokic goes off in game 5, and you're like, yeah. I don't think we're looking for a scapegoat today if you win game 4 and the Nuggets win game 5. I think then it's what it should be, which was an acknowledgement that this all-time great player had a freakish game.
And my last thought on this is I don't know that there needs to be a scapegoat period right now. We're in the middle of a heavyweight fight. Let's watch the fight and see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what it looks like. Okay, if they get smoked at home tomorrow night, now the story is a little bit more complete, and we can talk about what happened in a more macro sense. But I need to see game 6 before I make like big conclusions about this playoff run or these series.
Yeah.
So
totally get that. Totally fair.
Did you even make a prediction there? I can't even
We
remember.
haven't done any predictions.
We haven't done no predictions
We have
yet?
not started yet. But I did want to get to one because I'm not looking to scapegoat. I am watching this series, and we talked about this a bit on Flagrant last night, but I'm going to write this down now. I'm watching this series through the prism of like Tim Conley, which is, okay, I tried to build a roster that could beat the Joker, and I've certainly got some really good parts, but it's not complete yet. There's going to have to be alterations and changes. And I'm going to give you write that down that I think I gave you a year ago. It came off the board wrong. I'm not so sure it's going to come off the board wrong this time around. Karl Anthony Towns will be traded this summer.
Let me see if you have that. You might have an iteration of that. Not that it matters.
I did for sure last year.
Let's see here. I think you have one where he's demanding a trade at some point.
Okay,
you have
that's probably going to end up being wrong. I don't think he's going to demand a trade anymore.
Well, you never know. No, he probably won't.
No, he's not going to demand a trade. I don't think he's going to.
You wouldn't demand a trade.
I don't think he has any interest in demanding a trade.
Let's see here.
Unless like Connolly left or there was like just some weird friction behind the scenes.
I think he's pretty happy here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you have Cat will ask for a trade by 2024 Timberwolves training camp. So it is a different prediction.
Yeah, that's going to come off the board wrong. I don't. Oh, there was something up at the time that seemed weird with some friction, but I think that's long gone. So anyway, yes, he'll just be traded this summer.
Okay, the Dexter.
All right. I'll make a Wolves prediction. Write this down. Wolves force a game 7, and they win game 6 by 5 points or more.
Nice.
Okay.
They're 2-point favorites right now.
They're 2-point favorites right now.
Yeah, -2. They are 2-point favorites right now.
Interesting. So even though everyone is already looking ahead to the summer and next season, and fans have left this team quite on the
Don't
season,
show the Nuggets
that the sports betting community, that the bookmakers who help build those billion-dollar facilities in Las Vegas have the Wolves as a favorite tomorrow night. Interesting.
Don't show Denver or Mike Malone that, please.
It's Michael Malone now.
Michael Malone. Well, I just don't want him taking this to his
happen?
team.
Michael?
He looks like a Mike, so he should be Mike Malone. Like,
by the way, I love that. I know it's sacrilege to say this because I love Finchy too and Mike Inori, but
Yeah.
If you're a Nuggets fan, how great must it be from like Mike Malone? He goes after officials. He calls his team a bunch of cowards after game 2, basically puts together the mixtape.
Didn't Flip help him a ton as a young coach? I think
it's part of the reason why Ryan's on that staff.
Saunders on the team. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's great, but he's a Mike. He's not a Michael.
Okay, write this down. Positive Phil is going to be out in full force here. Just a heads up.
The comments are going to get hammered.
I know. Man, I'm telling you, we had the live comments up the first 5 or 10 minutes of that episode last night, and I went positive and said, I know no one wants to hear this, but the series is not over yet. They can absolutely still win the series. And it was like a 5-minute steady flow of Phil, come on, Phil, bro, come on, man, what are you smoking, Phil, Mackey. Write this down. The Timberwolves will have a double-digit lead at some point again before the series is over. The Timberwolves will have a double-digit lead at some point before the series is over. I think they're gonna. Now they could have like a 22-10 lead in the first quarter of Game 6 and still lose, and I win the point. They could win a close game, Game 6, have a double-digit lead in Game 7. There's a few different ways for this to play out for old Macadac. We'll see.
Write this down.
Okay, Judd, what's your second prediction?
My second prediction, I will pivot to the Twins. Pablo Lopez will finish in the top 3 in AL Cy Young voting this season. Sonny Gray was second last year. Pablo was 7th. But clearly now Pablo stands alone as the ace. And I mean, he got off to sort of a weird start, but his numbers are still really solid. I think the Twins now have enough of a, what's the word I'm looking for here? Enough. I think there's enough there from a national perspective about their starting pitching, with Gray last year, that I think the voters will probably take note. So he'll finish top 3.
If he does finish top 3, will people be talking about it in 15 years from now?
No, No, they won't. Because if he finishes third, no one talks about Sonny Gray finishing second. They just lament
some people
that he went to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Who are horrible, by the way. Again,
Write this down.
Trade for him.
That's a shame. That's
It's
such
not.
a great baseball.
Is it a
town.
shame?
it's not
really
I see
a
what you're
shame.
doing.
It's not
I
a
like
shame.
to see the Redbirds
bleep
good.
the Cardinals, dude.
I love
they
to
are
see the
their
Cardinals
fan
be
base.
good.
No, let them be terrible. Let them be terrible.
Great baseball town. They lost
Suffer.
their football team.
No, they did. They got the Battle
Battlehawks.
Battlehawks.
Caw.
I like St. Louis. Good sports town. Very blue
Write
collar.
this down.
It's Pablo Day today at the ballpark too against the
I'm
Yankees.
so tired of Pablo Day. The constant ads on the broadcast.
Everything.
I'm so tired of Pablo.
Dude, you are in a mood today.
It's Pablo Day. No, I'm not. I'm in a good mood.
You're done with the Wolves series. You're sick of
I'm
Pablo
not done with the Wolves
Day.
series. No, you didn't hear me. I said if they win Game 6,
Let's
it changes
replay
the
it.
narrative completely. No, I'm more pessimistic, but I'm not done with it. It's not done. You're right. I agree with you, or it's not done. No. But the Pablo Day, I am down on. You know what? Screw Pablo Day. Get your games on television again.
That has nothing to do with Pablo Day, though.
Well, more people would see Pablo Day if they could watch the games on television. Huh?
Pablo Day is about coming to the ballpark and wearing the jersey. But I digress. Anyway.
Not a bad jersey, by the way.
Anyway,
I sort of like the jersey.
I'll make a Twins prediction too. Write this down. The Twins will win the next 2 games against the Yankees. They'll take the series.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
So I thought and I talked about this on the post game yesterday too with AJ. I mean, going into yesterday's game, you're going to face a lefty in Rodon. The Twins' right-handed lineup is just horrible. It's just not an optimal lineup. And Chris Paddock, God bless him, was going to be put in a tough spot to begin with. So I thought that game was going to be a loss on paper, and it was indeed a loss. So with Pablo and Joe Ryan on the mound for the Twins today, tomorrow, I like their chances a lot more. They will take the series against the Yankees.
Okay, write this down.
Write this down.
Positive Phil coming in here. Optimistic Phil. Anthony Edwards will knock down at least 5 3-pointers in Game 6. Now, he's going to have to just sort of take it into his own hands at times. And here's my Jaylen Brunson thing I wanted to bring up. So last night in that Knicks-Pacers game, and by the way, Knicks are OG Anunoby is out. Mitchell Robinson, their backup big, is out. And then they're depleted across the board. So the Pacers, who aren't a great defensive team, not even close to like the Nuggets or the Timberwolves, so granted. But ESPN Stats and Information had the Pacers doubling Jaylen Brunson in the half court on 28 different possessions, and he still dropped 40 points. Because what he would do is the double team would come, and one of the doubles is a big man like Miles Turner. Well, Jaylen Brunson would just dribble around the big man. Say, oh, you're going to double me? Well, I'm just going to dribble around you because you can't stay in front of me because you're a 7-foot oaf. And he would get to the rim, get to the free throw line, or he would collapse the defense and get an open look for someone.
Yep.
When Jokic or Aaron Gordon comes over and double teams or traps Anthony Edwards, he just needs to go around or go through, split it, whatever it may be. Just be more aggressive.
And
Don't
Conley
make it
might
an
play,
automatic
too.
pass.
If Conley plays, that helps. Did you guys hear the Kenny Smith post-game breakdown of the difference when Conley plays and doesn't play as far as pertaining to Ant?
I didn't see his breakdown. No.
Really good stuff about when he brings the ball. So if Ant brings the ball down the court and he's in the middle of the court, Kenny Smith's point is there are 10 eyes that can watch him. So he can go left, he can go right, but he's going to go right. He's going to go right into where players are like set for him.
Yeah.
When Conley's got the ball, Ant can cut back door, and basically Kenny's point then is it's 6 eyes.
Yep, and Nikhil was bringing the ball up quite a bit in that game, but he's just not the same floor general, and
he's not
he
going to
doesn't have the
orchestrate.
vision. Yeah, he's more of a spot up shooter. He's a 3-and-D guy that they're asking to play some point guard.
This is where we get into true point guards, right?
Well, that's where it would have been interesting. I know Jordan McLaughlin's been basically out of the rotation in the playoffs, but was there 10 or 12 minutes for him at some point just to organize? Now, the flip side of that is, who does he defend on the other side of the court? Because like having Nikhil out there defensively is such a huge boost versus having Jordan McLaughlin out there. And the Timberwolves are trying to weigh that. So they're maybe losing some offensive orchestration by having Nikhil out there at times instead of Jordan McLaughlin. But I might have tried to find like 8 to 10 minutes for Jordan McLaughlin.
Could Morris have played more? Because I actually thought
he played,
when he did play
10 minutes.
He played pretty well.
Yep, and he doesn't turn the ball over. So, okay.
Write this down.
Before we get to the final predictions here, a shout out to our friends over at Nicolay Law, gentlemen, the official exclusive personal injury law firm of Score North Podcast. So Nicolay Law, it's just a bunch of regular folks with law degrees, people that you see at your local gas station, at the game, walking their dogs. The difference is they are people that walk their dogs and can help you get the compensation you deserve after you get into an accident. So if you've been hurt, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. And speaking of the Twins Yankees the next couple days, got some fun series on the horizon here as the weather turns to summer. And you can get your tickets at twins.com/tickets. You can still catch the Yankees before the week is over. Twins.com/tickets. Pablo Lopez. This Twins rotation is worth grabbing a ticket, man. The weather. Best bar in the Twin Cities, Target Field.
God, I almost got popped by 3 different foul balls yesterday in the press box. It was insane.
Wow.
Willie Castro, me and Pat Donnelly. Donnelly went for the ball. I protect the face and the laptop. These
are
are
ricochet somewhere.
These are prime
protect
assets.
the laptop at all costs.
Yep, the face and the laptop are prime assets here. I'm not going to be a hero or a buffoon, which is what I'm more afraid of, trying to catch the foul ball.
No.
And then also one came up. So the door that is right next to the glass in the press box, that first steps out of the Legends Club, I think it's now called the Thriving Club. I'm going to still call it the Legends Club.
Yeah.
Came and ricocheted off that, popped a guy in the nose, blood everywhere.
Whoa, in the press box?
Oh,
No. In the Legends Club.
I'm sorry.
Popped off the glass.
Oh, yeah, you know what?
Paramedics
Baseball,
and everything.
among the most overrated things in sports are foul balls. Like, I got to catch one. It's like, no, you don't.
Did you see the guy? Was it a Cubs game? Some guy caught back-to-back foul balls. Seattle. Literally consecutive foul balls.
Yeah, consecutive, yeah. He, but that's one thing, despite the fact that I'm in this group, one thing I don't understand about, and this includes people in the press box, the male species, is the desire to like, I'll catch the baseball.
Yeah, no.
No, I won't.
No. I didn't want to catch it when I played. So I want to try to catch it.
I'm totally with you, dude. I'm not going to rip you at all.
That's twins.com/tickets.
Yeah, and you know what? If a foul ball comes your way, here's my advice: go to the souvenir stand. Plop if you really want a baseball. Plop down the cash. They've got a cool merchandise store down the left field line that's got like baseballs that have been put into play because they're all marked now and everything like
really
that.
Cool. Yeah.
Go plop down some cash there. Don't worry about a foul ball and trying to catch it. You'll only hurt your hands or face.
Some advice, some life advice from the sports dad.
The sports dad knows these things. It's not worth it.
Write this down.
Like Declan just said, blood all over the place.
What is the sports dad's final prediction?
Okay, I am going to clip this. Make sure that the Nuggets fans get this one because you know what? I've had quite the week with them. I'm getting words that are not fit for anywhere still on Twitter about me. Personal
Basically,
attack.
for just suggesting that the Wolves be more physical with Jamal Murray, right?
They think I suggested the bounty gate, and I tried to explain. No, somebody in the comments suggested it, and we yucked it up about it. But anyway, I loved Nuggets fans. I loved what Jaden McDaniels did with Jaylen Murray last night when he actually sort of pushed him from behind.
Jamal, put some respect.
Jamal Murray, sorry, and
Jimbo Murray. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, the Wolves will be called for at least one flagrant one in Game 6. One flagrant, one foul.
See, I feel like that's a little that feels to me like they're down by 9. It's the third quarter.
I think someone might get frustrated.
Jaden McDaniels gets pissed or something.
I'm just saying. I think someone might get frustrated. Yeah. I don't know when, and it could be two of them. It could be the Nuggets. They get into a dust up. It's just these teams are both highly competitive. And I felt like last night there were times where it started to flare a little bit. And the longer the series goes, the more I think it's going to potentially flare. So anyway.
Yeah. The one thing I do hope is if the Wolves aren't going to win the series, or if they're going to go out in Game 6 or whatever, don't go out like a bunch of clowns. Don't start like throwing haymakers and stuff.
I don't think they would go
send a message.
I don't think they'd go out like that, but I do think that playing off of what we saw last night, I do think that there's a physicality and that there is enough of animosity growing between these two teams that the physicality is certainly a thing now.
Yeah.
Write this down.
Okay, Dex, your final prediction.
All right, last prediction from me. He had a scoreless outing yesterday because he's very effective against right-handed pitchers. And I'm going to ride this out because I think this is also a home run prediction.
Nice.
Jay Jackson will have 3 consecutive scoreless appearances starting today. So I'm not even going to count what happened yesterday.
Oh.
I'm going to count his next 3 appearances as of May 15th, scoreless appearances. No earned runs in those 3 appearances.
Okay.
Write it down.
So if one is here and two are with the Saints, does that count?
No. It would not. But he's not going anywhere. So
hilarious. Okay.
Sorry,
write this down.
Myself.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Okay, write this down. Carl is going to have a bounce back, but I'm going to frame it this way. I think he's going to shoot more threes. I think, he's been pretty dialed in from 3-point range, and he hit that corner 3 right away. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to make a concerted effort again. He gets these stray voltage drives, offensive fouls. So I will say Carl will knock down at least 4 3-pointers in Game 6.
Ooh.
At least 4. He's only been I think you tell me if that's a home run because he's only been attempting 4.2 per game. Yeah. I'm saying he's going to make at least 4 3-pointers in this one.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Home run?
Fair.
Okay. So I've got Ant making 5, Carl making 4. If those guys can combine for 9 made threes, okay, you got a chance. You got a chance in Game 6.
Vinny literally came to the edge of the bed, which is my arm's length away, and just decided I'm going to shake as loud as humanly possible, as
hey, guy.
possible.
Oh, they know.
Hey, guy.
They know.
Time.
Oh, God.
Yep. He knows exactly what he's a smart guy, the Vinster.
I can't take his collar off, too, because he freaks out. He hates when his collar is off.
Oh, really?
Can't stand it. Yep.
Stella
Can't
likes
stand it. He will sit at you and whine until you put it back on. So.
Really?
Oh, interesting.
Yep. He needs the collar on.
Yeah, that's
a good boy.
It's really mad.
It's a good boy.
Sometimes I like to hold it and then chase around the house. Sometimes I put it on my own neck. No, I don't do that. But
wow.
But
that's the one with spikes. The deck.
Yeah. No, that's the other.
Stop. Please stop.
All right, that's a wrap on Write That Down Wednesday here. Minnesota Sports.
Write this down.
When we don't have a guest listener with this, these get squirrely. It's like once every 2 months.
Well, the Wolves thing is good. I mean, it's a good conversation.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see what happens at Target Center tomorrow night. Flagrant Howls. Michael Grady is traveling today, but he's going to hop off a plane and join Kyle and me later on. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens Game 6 tomorrow.
Have we confirmed that Kyle is okay?
Yes. In fact, before
good.
It was like
I was worried about
1 a.m. I was texting with him and Grady, and he is alive. I did say, hey, I think they can still win the series. Positive Phil thinks they can still win the series, and he liked it, but he didn't. I think he liked it as kind of all right, dude. Congrats on you thinking that, but see. All right, that's a wrap. We'll see you guys.